Some roads don't show up on maps. Some rides don't end where they should. And some strangers were never really strangers at all. Tonight, 3 travelers cross paths with something they can't explain and can never outrun.
I was 17 when this happened. It was late spring, and I had just gotten my license a few months earlier. My mom had let me take the family Corolla to visit my cousin's lake house, about 90 minutes out of town. I remember feeling like the king of the world, music blasting, windows cracked, the whole thing. I took the scenic route. Narrow roads, tall trees pressing in on either side, barely any cell service. Beautiful in the day. Creepy as hell at night. I left the lake house around 10:30 p.m., later than planned. I figured I'd still get home before midnight. About 20 minutes into the drive, I saw him. A man standing on the shoulder, halfway under a flickering street lamp. He was thin, mid-30s maybe, and wore a brown windbreaker with jeans. His glasses were crooked, one lens missing entirely. He stuck out his thumb just as I passed, and for whatever reason, I slowed down. I don't know what came over me. Maybe I felt bad. Maybe I liked the idea of helping someone. Maybe I was just stupid. But I pulled over and rolled down the passenger window. "Need a ride?" I asked. He nodded. "Just down to the highway," he said, voice soft, almost hoarse. My car broke down. I popped the locks, and he got in. No bag, no phone, nothing. Just the man and those damn broken glasses. The ride started off normal enough. He didn't talk much, just stared out the window. But about 5 minutes in, I noticed he was shaking. Not like shivering, His hands kept flexing in his lap. "You all right?" I asked. Didn't answer right away. Then without turning to me, he said, "Do you believe in warnings like omens?" I half laughed no. From people. Strangers, people like me. That shut me up real quick. Another few minutes of silence passed. We were coming up on a bend with nothing but forest on either side when he spoke again. "I was in a wreck 2 nights ago," he said. "I wasn't supposed to live," I said, glancing at him. I'm glad you're okay." He turned his head toward me and, I swear, in the dim dashboard light, his left eye didn't blink. Not once. No, I wasn't meant to be okay. I gripped the wheel tighter. The forest outside suddenly felt endless. He went on slowly. "They told me to stop, said I shouldn't keep going, but I didn't listen, and now trailed off. I didn't know what to say. Then he muttered, 'You should let me out now.' I almost slammed the brakes. 'Here, but we're in the middle of here.' His voice sharpened. 'Please.' So I pulled over. He opened the door, but turned back one last time. 'Don't go home tonight.' 'What? Take the long way? Sleep at a friend's? Just don't go home.' And then he was gone. Walked straight into the woods, didn't look back. I drove straight home anyway. When I pulled into my driveway, all the lights were off. I got out, half expecting something weird to happen. But nothing did, until I walked into the house. The smell hit me first, gasoline. I rushed toward the kitchen and found the oven on. The gas knob cranked, no flame. Every window was shut. My mom had accidentally left it on. She was already asleep upstairs. Safe, thank God. But if I'd come home an hour earlier, to this day, I don't know who that man was, or how he could have possibly known. But I'll never forget what he said. "Don't go home."
I used to drive for Uber during college. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid my rent and kept my student loan debt from swallowing me whole. I almost always drove during the day. Lunch rushes, weekend errands, airport runs. I avoided late nights like the plague. That was when the creeps came out. The drunks. The unstable ones. The ones who talk too much or not at all. But one Thursday night during finals week, I made an exception. I'd just finished a brutal study session and was wired on caffeine and adrenaline. I figured I'd knock out an hour or two of driving to clear my head. Easy money, right? Wrong. It was just past 1 in the morning. I had no luck getting rides near campus, so I decided to cruise the back roads outside of town, long wooded stretches where deer outnumber people. No streetlights, just the dim wash of my headlights on cracked pavement. That's when I saw her. She was running along the shoulder of the road, hoodie pulled tight, her silhouette bouncing in my high beams. What struck me was how fast she was moving. Not jogging, sprinting, and not like someone exercising. More like someone trying to escape something. I slowed the car, heart thumping, and rolled down the window. "You okay?" I called out. She looked over her shoulder before turning to me. Her face was pale, her eyes wide and glassy. She didn't say anything at first, just stood there, heaving like she'd been running for miles. "You need a ride?" I asked. She hesitated, then gave the smallest nod. I unlocked the doors. She climbed in without a word. I noticed right away that her hands were trembling. She kept them clenched in her lap, like she was holding something in. Fear? Or rage? Or maybe both? "Where are you headed?" I asked. She didn't look at me. Just into town. Anywhere with people. Her voice was flat, quiet, but there was something beneath it. Panic? Trauma? I couldn't tell. We drove in silence for the first few minutes. I tried to make small talk. Asked if she was okay, if someone was after her. She ignored most of my questions. Just kept looking out the window like something might come crawling out of the woods. Finally, she whispered, "Do you see it?" "See what?" "In the mirror." I glanced up. Nothing but empty road behind us. "There's a black car," she said. "No lights. It's been following me." My stomach turned. I checked the mirror again. Still nothing. "You're sure?" She nodded. "I saw it after I left the trail. I was running toward the main road and it just rolled out of the trees. No lights." I ducked into the brush and waited. "I thought I lost it. Then you pulled up." Her voice cracked at the end. For a second, she didn't sound afraid. She sounded exhausted. Hollow. I gripped the wheel tighter. The road was still deserted. The trees looked darker now, like they'd been soaked in ink. I tried to stay calm. "If someone's following you, we should go to the place. There's a station here." "No." She cut me off. Hard. "He'll disappear if we stop. He always does." That phrasing, always, stuck with me. "You've seen him before?" She didn't answer. We were about 5 minutes from the nearest gas station. I figured I'd get her there, somewhere with lights and security cameras, and let her cool down. Maybe she was having a psychotic break. Maybe she was on something. Or maybe, just maybe, she was telling the truth. But then she said something that froze my blood. "He'll come for you now." "What?" She looked at me for the first time since getting in. Her face was pale and serious. "He saw you. That's all it takes." I tried to laugh, but it came out dry. "Come on, you're messing with me." "I'm not." "Look," I said. "If this is some weird game..." "It's not a game," she snapped. "It's a pattern. A loop. I've seen it before. You help someone like me, and he follows you. Until someone else picks you up. Or until..." She trailed off. Her eyes shifted back to the rear window. "Until what?" I asked. She didn't answer. I dropped her at the gas station. She stepped out and turned to me one last time. "Don't go straight home," she said. "Take side streets. Get off the grid. He hates patterns." Then she shut the door and disappeared around the back of the station. I sat there for a while, maybe 10 minutes, trying to make sense of it, wondering if I should call someone. But who? The police? What would I say? I picked up a weird girl who says a shadow car is going to stalk me. Eventually, I started driving again. That's when I saw them. Headlights in my mirror. No, not headlights. A silhouette. A black car. No lights. Rolling in the shadows. Gaining slowly. I took a turn. So did it. I sped up. So did it. I ran 4 red lights, turned down a one-way alley, pulled into an abandoned loading dock, and it still followed. I threw the car in park, jumped out, and ran into a nearby 7-Eleven. Stayed there for an hour. The clerk gave me weird looks, but I didn't care. When I finally worked up the courage to look outside, nothing. No car. I convinced myself I imagined it. Drove home, parked across the street from my apartment, just in case. Didn't sleep that night. The next few days were uneventful. I went to class. I worked. I tried to move on, but I started noticing things. My car keys would be in a different place than I left them. My toothbrush wet in the morning when I hadn't used it. Once I woke up and all my cabinet doors were open. I asked my roommate if he was messing with me. He looked genuinely confused. And then, exactly 1 week later, I got a package. No return address, no postage stamp, just a plain box on my doorstep. Inside was a dash cam, my dash cam. The one I hadn't realized was missing. I plugged it into my laptop and opened the files. There was one clip. Time stamped 3:27 m the same night I dropped her off. It showed my car parked on the street. The street was empty. Until a figure walked into a frame, not a car, a man. Dressed in black, pale face, eyes like static on a broken TV. He walked slowly toward the car, reached out, and waved. Then the screen glitched. Cut to black. That was it. That was the last time I drove for Uber. But it wasn't the last time I saw him. I started dreaming about him, standing in the corners of rooms, watching from under streetlights. Sitting in the passenger seat of my car when I looked in the mirror, I moved apartments. Changed cities. Changed my name on social media. But last month, over a year after it all happened, I saw her. The girl, walking out of a grocery store. Same hoodie, same ponytail. I followed her, caught up, and said, Hey, remember me? She turned slowly. It wasn't her. Her face was different, not wrong, just off. And she smiled, only once. Then said, He's still with you, isn't he? And walked away.
I just accepted a job offer in Colorado, the kind of role you tell your friends is a career move. Even though you're quietly terrified, you're not ready for it. I packed everything I owned into a rental truck, said goodbye to Pennsylvania, and started the drive west. I wasn't in a rush. I had 3 days to get there and a few favorite routes through the Midwest. I'd done long-haul drives before and usually found them calming. It's just me. A thermos of coffee and podcasts blasting through the speakers. Mile after mile of empty highway with nothing to think about except where to stop for gas and snacks. The second night, I booked a room at a tiny roadside motel in Kansas. It was the kind of place that still used actual metal keys and had vending machines that hummed louder than the air conditioning. When I checked in, the guy behind the counter looked like he hadn't blinked in years. Thin, yellowed eyes. Loose skin hanging like deflated balloons under his jaw. "You driving far?" asked, handing me the key. "Colorado," I said. "Taking Route 70?" He nodded slowly. "You make sure to stay on the interstate." I laughed. "That's the plan." His face didn't change. "The GPS tells you to take Route 19. Ignore it?" That threw me. "I didn't see a Route 19, I replied. "You might do," he said. "It wasn't always there." I waited for him to elaborate. He didn't. Back in my room, I brushed it off. Probably just some weird local superstition. Maybe teenagers had crashed on that road, or maybe it was a joke they played on out-of-towners. The next morning, I left around 6. Clear skies, flat roads, radio crackling softly under the rumble of tires. I drove for about 2 hours before the GPS recalculated and told me to take an exit. A shortcut, it said. Cut 38 minutes off my trip. The exit sign was brown and faded, County Route 19. I actually laughed out loud. "Nope," I muttered. "Not today." But 38 minutes is a long time on an 8-hour haul. I sat at the junction for a full minute, just thinking. The road ahead looked fine. Just a little cracked, maybe. It wasn't some dirt trail or gravel pit, and that guy at the motel. He didn't say why not to take it, just ignore it. So I took it. The road was narrow. No markings, no center line, just 2 lanes of pale, aged asphalt flanked by thick trees. The canopy above grew denser the further I went, branches knitting together like skeletal fingers. It didn't feel like Kansas anymore. About 10 minutes anywhere. About 10 minutes in, my GPS froze. I wasn't surprised. Cell signal had been dropping in and out since the exit. I figured it'd pick back up once I reconnected with the highway, but the road kept going. And going. I should have turned around. I know that now. But the curve of the trees made it feel like I was always just about to come out the other side, like there was a clearing just ahead. Then I saw him, a man standing at the side of the road with a thumb out. He wore a black windbreaker, jeans, and a faded baseball cap. Pale skin, no backpack, just a duffel bag on the ground next to him. I didn't want to stop. I didn't even mean to stop. But my foot eased off the gas, and the truck coasted to a halt a few feet past him. The man walked up to the passenger window and leaned in slightly. Going west, I hesitated. "Yeah, just trying to get back to 70. That's the way," he said, motioning ahead. "Mind if I ride with you for a bit, just to the end of this road?" I looked at him. His eyes were bloodshot, the kind of red that comes from too many nights without sleep. "Sure," I said. "Hop in." He climbed in, tossed the duffel between his feet, and buckled up. We drove in silence for a while. He didn't fidget, didn't look out the window, just sat there, hands folded in his lap, eyes straight ahead. It was like he was waiting for something, like he was counting down. After a few miles, he said, "This road doesn't follow maps." "Yeah," I replied. "GPS went out 10 minutes ago." He nodded slowly. "It always does." That rubbed me wrong. "You've been here before?" He didn't answer. Instead, he said, "There's a town up ahead. We'll want to stop there." I looked at him, trying to gauge if he was messing with me. He seemed perfectly calm. Too calm. "There's no town on the map," I said. "Of course not." I must have given him a look because he added, "It's not on maps. It's not supposed to be." We drove for another 10 minutes before I saw it. A town. Not a big one. It's maybe 8 or 9 buildings lining either side of the road. A gas station, a diner, or a general store with a rusted-out sign. No cars, no people, not even birds. I slowed down without realizing it. My foot hovered over the brake as I stared at the place. Didn't feel abandoned, just ... Still, like everything inside was waiting. The man beside me pointed at the gas station. "Pull in here." I didn't want to. Every nerve in my body screamed to keep going, but I pulled in anyway. He opened the door, grabbed his bag, and looked at me. "You've still got time," he said, "but not much." And he shut the door and walked away. I watched him enter the station, and the doors closed behind him. He didn't come back out. I sat there for a while, engine idling, trying to make sense of what just happened. Eventually I stepped out. The air smelled like something long dead. I walked to the door and peeked inside. Empty, no cashier, no lights, no man. Just a room full of shelves, all perfectly stocked with items that looked 30 years old. Candy bars in faded wrappers. Soda bottles with labels I hadn't seen since childhood. I backed out and climbed into the truck. Drove through the rest of the town without stopping. And that's when I realized something. There was no road out. The town looped. Every turn, every alley, every side street, they all curved back to the main road. After a full hour of driving, I found myself in front of the same diner, the same crooked general store, the same gas station. I parked and sat with my head in my hands. Something was wrong. This wasn't just a weird back road. I wasn't just lost. I got out and wandered the town. No sounds, no wind. I banged on the doors of every building, but no one answered. Windows were covered in grime. Lights didn't turn on. It was like someone had built a movie set and forgotten to film the scene. Then I saw the notebook. It was sitting on the steps of the town hall. Plain, spiral-bound pad with a black cover. I picked it up and flipped through. Pages and pages of names. No dates, no addresses, just names. Some scrawled, some written neatly, in handwriting, eerily similar to my own. On the last page, someone had written, "You are the last, until someone else takes the road." I dropped the notebook and backed away, ran to the truck. Fired it up and sped down the road again, refusing to stop. I kept driving. For hours. But every time I thought I was getting somewhere, I'd blink and find myself back in the town. The sun didn't move. The sky didn't change. The fuel gauge didn't budge. Time wasn't working right. I parked the truck in the center of town and screamed until my throat was raw. That's when she found me. A girl, maybe 19, walking down the road like she'd just stepped out of the woods. Jeans, hoodie, backpack. She looked dazed. "Hey," I said, voice cracking. "Where did you come from?" She blinked slowly. I was hiking. My phone died. The map said this road would take me back. I stared at her. "You saw a sign for Route 19? She nodded. "Oh God," I muttered. "What is this place?" she asked. I opened my mouth to answer, then stopped. I saw myself in her, the confusion, the denial, the early tendrils of fear. And something inside me shifted. "You need a ride?" I asked. She looked unsure. "Do you know how to get out?" "Yeah," I lied. "Yeah, I do." She nodded. We got in the truck. As we drove, I watched the mirror. The town receded, and the trees opened. The sky changed color. The sun moved again. After 10 minutes, my GPS blinked back to life. I pulled to the side of the road and stopped. The girl looked around. "Where are we?" "Back," I said. "You're okay now?" She gave a shaky laugh. That was the weirdest detour of my life. I nodded. She thanked me and walked off down the trail toward a rest stop we'd passed. I watched her disappear into the crowd of travelers. And then I drove. Not to Colorado, not to anywhere, just away. Because something stayed behind in that town, and something left with me. Still see it sometimes, in mirrors, in dreams. Sometimes I wake up in places I didn't drive to. Sometimes my phone shows locations I never visited. But the worst part? When I close my eyes at night, I still hear a voice, whispering in the back of my mind, until someone else takes the road.
The road ends here. But their stories? Just the beginning. More tales are coming, if you dare to keep driving. Good night.